Thank you. Okay, recording progress, everyone. And Doug, do you have any work sessions planned other than our normal agenda for the well?
We're working on a couple. I don't have this listed right.
Okay,
Leah and I have been keeping track of it. We may have them.
yeah, start them off at 8:15.
Yep.
Thank you very much. First item is a subdivision with Cryomac. This is one we've been waiting on. Guess the time is right. So what do we have?
Nolan Kokoris of Bonchon and King.
Nolan, you can come right up.
I've got a, I can plug in if you want to see the map.
Yeah, please. Yeah, this is, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now, and so it's a good refresher.
Leah before, if you got an extra fine sharing.
Yeah,
Right now, you let the speed share up.
Well, that's going, I can give kind of the main points of the application.
Speak up okay a little bit, so.
Sure. So what we're proposing is a subdivision from 3 existing lots to 4 lots. And the new lot that's going to be created. I can. And the Zoom button.
Actually hidden behind the people.
Hit the roll.
Slide the people over too.
Yeah. Well, sorry, everyone. Here we go. Okay. So the new lot that's being created is part of a larger lot on the eastern side of this site. It's currently owned by Midcourt Builders Corporation. And the proposal would adjust some lot lines, so it would involve expanding Cryomac's existing parcel from 14 acres to 26.6, I believe. It would divide the Midcourt lot that's to the east of the existing Cryomac site into 2 lots of 19 and 15 acres approximately. And slightly change the northern boundary lines of the Cryomac parcel as well. And so the map that you're seeing here is a revised map. So based on the planning board's comments during the concept review, the board asked that the map show the proposed expansion facility that's in progress currently. So this is incorporating those comments and
Question.
absolutely.
You said before is 3 lots going to 4?
Yes.
I thought we had essentially lot 1, and lot 2 was all the way down around Creek, and we're basically splitting lot 2 into 2A and 2B.
Yes, yeah, so the 3 lots, I'm referring to the Cryomac lot,
So you had 3A,
2,
2A, 1A.
yeah, and then the 3rd one is this one here where we're doing just the minor lot line adjustment.
I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
this, I just remembered it as
Right.
essentially 2 down along Creek. We're just cutting it here. Okay.
So if there are any questions about this, I'm happy to address them at this time.
Well, I think we talked about this pretty thoroughly. Everybody comfortable with subdivision A? Okay, I have a motion to move this forward. Lee? All in favor? Wait, I gotta read it. All right, I had it myself here. Cryomac subdivision. motion to approve the subdivision is presented and the last dated 11/7/23. Made by Cottrell Land Surveyors, PC, with the following findings and conditions. This board has reviewed the subdivision, which reconfigures the approximate 76 acres into 4 total new lots in the high-tech zoning district. The land is already partially developed with the high-tech Cryomec project. This board is familiar with the property, the projects there, and having previously approved various site plans and prior subdivisions of this property. This subdivision presents a reasonable configuration of land for the present uses therein and potentially future uses allowable in the zoning district. This board is reviewed the SCAF of the applicant dated 10/12/2023 and finds no significant adverse environmental impacts. Subdivision project and therefore issues a negative declaration for the subdivision. The board is reviewed county planning board administrative review dated 12/15/2023, which took no position with respect to the subdivision, but offered comments as to obtaining approvals from the New York State Thruway Authority with respect to any future developments. Accordingly, as to this subdivision only, there is no significant adverse inter-community or countywide implication. The applicant must file the subdivision map in the county clerk's office in accordance with the rules of the county and provide a copy of the stamped filed map to the town of DeWitt Department of Planning and Zoning. Okay, now. Later, all in favor? Thank you. Unanimous. Leif is,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Okay, JW Properties, exterior walk-in cooler.
Evening.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, go
I'm not
ahead.
gonna go near your computer. Because you take a lot of things on your agenda. When we read the concept review, we were asked what screening on the walk-in cooler to match the siding and the elevations of it.
Right across all sides of the.
Well, we're gonna do the east side and the south side, the back side is where access will be and service. JW riggers are on our west boundary, so there's nothing to be gained by adding three more back there.
This is attached right to the cooler.
Pardon me?
This was attached right to the cooler.
Yes, we're gonna treat it like the range.
That was a comment, so
The comment was to wrap all sides.
all sides of the cooler.
Oh, you can do that. I didn't get that comment, but.
Okay, yeah, but that would be requirement, yeah,
Nice screening, siding.
right.
It's just Green Street technology, so which is good. Right.
How would I,
What's the proper language?
It's a straight screen.
Side instead of 3 exposed sides.
That'll work.
Okay. Any other questions?
Kevin, I appreciate you taking comments to heart.
So with that, the verbiage we just had, the site extension, all 3 sides, the approval is made with further conditions, approvals for plans and other submitted documents. Both site plan documents that have been signed by the planning board chairperson. And the applicant requires that all the work shown be completed by the applicant or for a certificate of occupancy or compliance be issued. Any proposed changes, additions, or deletions. The scope of the work or materials from the site plan are not approved and are subject to further site plan review pursuant to town of DeWitt section 192-122.
the last date on that plan?
The last revision is November the 7th.
All right, there's the motion, from my liberal left of Yeti. And anyone else on the second that, please? Nathan, all in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Livingston Energy. Installations of 2, we have ECC and 4, L2 charging stations.
Hello,
Concept,
Apologies. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I appreciate you being here tonight. My name's Lynn Stewart. If you'll give me a moment, I will pop up a screen share and hello, members. Can you see that?
No, is that share? There you go.
Well, no.
We don't
You
share.
gotta stop our share.
How do we do that?
Get out of that, so there you go.
And then just
Make sure she's got the.
Yeah, click the little up arrow.
Little arrow, and then the citation should be okay.
This one here?
Now, multiple participants should work.
That's what it was on.
If it's too difficult, if you all have the prints in front of you, I can just describe verbally and then go from there.
You should be all set, try it.
Try it now.
And
All right, thank you very much. Are you guys seeing this?
No.
no,
All right. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
there we go.
We got it.
All right, perfect. Give me 1 second. Excuse my little background there. All right, and can you see the boards now or
Yep.
the plans now? Perfect. I will try to expand them a little bit. This file is a little finicky because of the CAD outlay.
X up the
But it's,
comments.
I'm sorry, what?
Click on the X by the comments right there.
I'm working on it, sir. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
So essentially, as it says, we're building a DCFC fast charger, 108 kilowatt, and 4 level 2s at 40 amps for the Fayetteville Dodge Ram on 610 Galston Road. Pretty standard procedure. We'll be putting this one in if you're ongoing on Galston Road, we'll be putting this on the east side of the building, as well as the 4 EV chargers right here. Give me 1 second. I'll try to give you guys a little bit better view of that overhead. That's not it. There we go. So essentially we'll be running, here will be the 4 level 2s. And the DCFC, which will be running to a pole that's right in the design phase right now with National Grid. Or no, I'm sorry, RG&E, my mistake. And is in the design phase right now. The trenching will be 2 by 2 feet, run about 40 feet to there. These are wall mounted, so the trenching here will be all interior and about 75 feet. Pretty standard operation. And there you go. There's the overhead of both of them. Nothing too extravagant. We'll have our protective bollards, those also being 4 feet down per New York State code, among other things. And I guess any questions at this point?
We did look at the design earlier in the week.
I don't know, we didn't. I don't think we looked at this one.
I don't think
We only looked at
Yeah,
soft.
Yeah, I agree. This one we
Are
did.
these
But
public
we looked
use?
at the wall mounted, these are wall mounted,
Right.
This is a different app. This is different, totally
This is,
all right,
Sarah is the one of
Yes, they are wall mounted, the 4 L2s.
But the DC charger is a standalone, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Are these public use chargers?
Yes, they will be. They have to be that way for the utility to be able to get the full funding for the client and us. In this circumstance, sometimes we can make it that way, but unfortunately they have to be public access.
do you have any cut sheets on the chargers themselves?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I can definitely bring that up.
Wall chargers wired internally.
It depends. These can be standalone units, but they can also be wired outside to electrical systems or poles or transformers.
think your question is, mine too, is that since they're 40 amp chargers, I'm assuming there is no transformer.
No, the 40 amp chargers will be powered by a panel. They actually future proofed. The panel figures go to accommodate for that. And it'll be running, I believe, on a 200 amp circuit.
What we're always concerned about is the extra gear that is never mentioned that shows up and is sitting next to things that you wanna take over and go away. Wall mounted chargers want to be wired internally in the building. If they're on the wall, outside wall of the building, they should be running inside the building for connectivity to their panels. So
I'm sorry, sir, you kind of cut up on that. Is your concern because of them, they're exterior mounted instead of interior?
Concern is what I like to use the phrase wall acne.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is not to have exposed wires, cable trays, connective devices to things that just sort of magically happen after we all fall in love with the charger. We don't see the other items. So we want to make sure we fully understand what those other items are and what they're being.
Okay,
And if there's anything outside and additional equipment that we're not aware of, that needs to be screened and landscaped.
right, there shouldn't be anything, there is no equipment beyond what I am presenting here tonight. Anything else we would obviously bring to the board beforehand, among other things. There's not gonna be anything beyond that, except for protective measures if the board requires it.
One on the island needs to be, landscaped.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Landscaping around there.
Any screening in
The
the back.
transformer for that one, is that on the pole, did you say?
It's not gonna be on the pole, it's gonna connect to the pole with a trench. It's about I believe it's a 75-foot run, and it's 2 by 2 feet, so 2 feet down, 2 feet across.
Right, but the charger itself sits at the end of the parking stall.
Correct.
Is the transformer for that internal to the charger? So
No,
there's
it'll be running off the pole's power itself. There'll be wires, conduit run into the ground up to the pole, the existing pole transformer. There's not gonna be any additional.
Meter inspector.
There's gotta be something, yeah, there's gotta be something on the pole.
200 off the pole.
We'll be running the conduit up to the pole to an existing transformer that's on the pole. There's,
Oh, the existing, okay, there's an existing
Yeah.
one. Okay,
yes.
Okay,
And here is I'm bringing up the 203 spec right now. Just give me 1 second. Takes. And this is the level 2 charger. If you need me to zoom in on any information, I'll be more than glad to.
the wires will be internal.
Yes, all the wiring will be running internally. You will not see anything on the outside of the wall. It won't look garish or not pleasant looking. It also will not, more importantly, will not be exposed to cause any problem, safety issues or anything like that.
Could you go back to the site plan for the level 2s?
Which one, the survey or the overhead?
Where you're showing the parking stalls relative to the chargers.
Okay. Yes.
So is there a sidewalk along that stretch of, so does that mean, yeah, there is, does that mean that these are mounted on the wall and there's just cables? When you're charging your car, does that interrupt flow along the sidewalk?
It should not, sir. We've done this at other various locations and it has not conducted flow there. We've had
Or Heather's going from the building to a car in the parking stall across the sidewalk.
yes, I understand. We have built them before, they haven't caused too much issue, but if needed, we can mount them away from the sidewalk in the spaces themselves. That wouldn't be an issue either.
I think that would be preferable. That doesn't make any sense to have people hurdle. Yeah, I think that's a,
Nope, we can definitely do that. That's not a problem. Fortunately, this is a very flexible site plan, so we can definitely work with that.
other comments?
I mean, if they mounted away from the building to Lisa's earlier comments, we're just gonna wanna see how you're powering them. You know, that'd be
Solids.
Like, can we give a different types of specific,
Well, they pull the 4 chargers off the wall into the parking stalls.
Yeah.
You know, provide appropriate protection. Trenching.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, with these 4, there won't be any really trenching because as you see, we'll be running along in the interior of the building. But well, yes, I do understand that on the DCFC here.
Well, I mean, now that you're pulling them away from the building, you gotta get from the building underneath that sidewalk to the 4 units that are gonna be at the end of those stalls.
Correct.
Right. So
You gotta get power to.
I-
And then the one that the fast charger is gonna have appropriate landscaping around it.
So you need to see a landscaping plan of some sort.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, as the drawing goes, this is mostly schematic, so it should be a technical drawing.
Yeah, she's got a more technical.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, she got it.
Yeah, not a problem.
It makes more please. Right. Move it more easier.
So.
Oh, did you have any others?
Landscaping.
Doug, anything else? Kathy, Kevin?
Okay, but as long as everything's on the plan.
Yeah, just get those on the plans and show it. If you get those, we need that to review. Doug, what's the date that we need those?
14th, I think.
No, we need the plans before that, for the 14th.
It depends. Doug, have they been put on a,
Track.
they've been put on a track, are they? Yeah, they're on track.
B,
All right, so the next submission of the track B is the 14th, right?
Yes. So if you get the submission in, we'll keep you on.
By the 14th.
By the 14th. Okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, so I just want to make sure I have everything before I let you go, and I don't mean to hold up anyone else.
Be sending comments out.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you then.
Doug, yep, thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, for 4040 Newport subdivision. Site plan. This is a concept review.
Good evening, board members. I didn't realize I needed a thumb drive to grab one. But can I use this little bit?
Sure, you can.
The engineer didn't see that thumb drive. I don't know if anyone has it.
I can pull it. Your seems.
Thanks.
do we have sharing? Sharing this?
I'm sorry,
Are we sharing this?
we have to share it all together.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
when it switches from person to person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize.
That's okay.
Talking about that one. Sorry.
They don't do that, just go down this share screens.
Look up screen. Top left,
Top left.
there's the screen, blue thing.
Yeah, there you go, you just click share actually. Bottom right, just go bottom right, and you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you.
It's just a survey.
But I think it's the one all the way on the right. Oh. You can just scroll down.
Yeah.
Back to the PDF document. Back to the PDF.
New website plans.
Yeah, let's go back where here.
To this one.
That one.
That one. Do it.
Go.
Oh, right there. But, okay.
Thanks, Doug.
I can start with it. This is the existing conditions. So there's two pieces of property. I'd like to combine the properties because we have a parking issue there. Right now, there's a drop down curb on Newcourt Street. People pull in perpendicular to the building. So when they back up, they have to back into the street and there's only limited parking. People park here and park there. So I want to combine the properties, tear this building down, make this green space and put the parking on this side. So if we can go to the next drawing. Which would be L2. Oh. That one. That one right there.
This one here?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this would become green space. We'll redo the curb, get rid of the drop down curb, replace the sidewalk. We'll have to get a DOT permit. This would be green space. Make the front of the building much more attractive. You would pull in here, you have parking along the side, you have green space. Can we downsize this? You'd have green space along the side, green space along the building, some stone border along the building, new landscaping on the front. Some new green space back here, and clean this up and make this additional green space. Right now, the dumpster sits here. We're gonna relocate it here and make a new enclosure to match this fence. It's a fence with green. It's not really slats, but it's like a green fabric in the fence. So this would all match the existing fencing that's there.
I'll say what you're doing with the buildings too,
I'm not doing anything with the building right now. We're just, the major issue is there's no parking for this building. So. And it's not set up very well. And this little building is old and it's too small to really do anything with, so it makes sense to remove the building and make this, combine the properties and make this parking for this building.
What's it, what, if you look at the code in terms of the requirements?
For parking?
Yes.
Yes, it's on the next page of it. I think they figured 7 spaces for the warehouse and 14 for the office space. So there's a total of 21 spots.
What's your need?
Well, right now it's a manufacturing space. They've moved out. We're just gonna clean the building up and it would probably be either manufacturing or, you know, warehouse and distribution space.
So you don't know the numbers?
I don't know, yeah, who is gonna actually be in the building. I need to do this work first.
Yeah.
To attract a new tenant.
But it would be a single occupant?
Yes.
But this time you're not proposing any exterior work on the building.
No, the only thing on the front of the building is brick. The brick's in great shape, but they have a siding, like accent on the front that makes the building look dated. So I'm gonna take that off and do EPIS panels on the front. I think there's an architectural drawing submitted in here. I saw it when we was looking through here. It's not on this one. It's back to the file. This one. Okay, so right now this is vinyl siding. So it looks really dated. So I want to remove that and do some drive-up panels on here to give it a more modern look. The brick is in great shape. The brick doesn't really need anything.
It's gonna help it. Anything we do, get rid of that vinyl siding is gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
Brick's in great shape, the windows will look good. It's a massive improvement for the whole street facade over there by cutting that curve out.
Is there
You know,
any
it's-
signage?
Yeah, there'll have to be a signage, you know, or at some point, for now, it doesn't have to kind of indicate the sign of a code compliant signage zone, so it's compliant. And come back for signage as needed.
You're right.
Yeah, and that can be just administratively
Right.
handled.
Yep. The only other comment would be down your left-hand side, we're adding the parking to your neighbor, and there's some. I'm just looking at the current photos that I have of it, there's some trees at the corner that go back where the telephone pole is.
Yeah, actually, the only good trees there are the ones we're saving in this back corner. The other ones are almost dead anyway.
I'd like to try and, if you can, add a couple down that side to help.
On that green space.
Yeah, so otherwise you're going from your parking to their parking, it's gonna turn into a sea of asphalt again. So I think we can do is visually break your property from the next one, enhance your property for your tenancy requirements.
You did mention that there was landscaping between the two, right?
There's grass right now on the side. Can we go back to the site plan? And the landscaping would be all on the front. That would be a huge improvement for the front of the building.
You got the street trees along the.
So go back right here, street trees right here. So this down here is a grass buffer. So this would all be grass and then new trees and new landscaping.
Yep.
This would be grass, green space. So there's actually more green space now than there was before.
No, it's a big improvement.
So all,
Yeah.
all of the, like an exhaust system and ductwork and all sorts of gear, that's all going.
Yeah, all the air over here, these were all air handlers for the manufacturing facility. So these are gonna all go away. We'll leave the fence, the green fence, we'll rework it to accept the dumpster.
You need a dumpster enclosure.
Well, the fence would be the dumpster enclosure. It's tall, it's probably. It's either 8 or 10 feet tall now.
Can I ask, if you're removing the air handlers, why are you leaving the fence?
Well, this could be storage area. I'm just gonna leave it for now. It's already fenced in, there's a good concrete pad there. So I'll probably just leave it alone at this point.
This looks like a chain link fence.
I think a couple other things that we talked about. We'd like to see a drainage letter to make sure that, you know, the drainage isn't impacted, and he said there's more green areas, so there probably is.
Okay.
The other thing we talked about was, it would be nice to know what that use is and how much
apartment he actually needs.
Well, we're gonna have to have, we have to have code based on, your office space.
But I think the discussion we had was when the application came in, it looked like it was just gonna be warehousing and storage. And if that was the case, then we might not need all the parking. We could do bank parking,
Right,
right?
right,
I
same.
don't know if that's needs, save you money and save us, give us a little bit more green space.
Future expansion. If we
Well, the catch is I don't know what they need yet until I get a tenant, so. I'd like to, build the parking lot as proposed so that we have it for future.
I'll take it. It's your call, you can build it to code.
Yeah.
But save money and
Right.
create more green space.
I get it, but if I turn around a year from now and need, 6 more spaces, I'm gonna be back here doing this again.
If you reserve it, we would.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, just reserve it, then it's a.
Yeah, you would show us this plan.
Yeah.
That could be built out by code.
Oh, so
and you
this
knock
could-
off those.
So say this could be grass.
Yeah, so that would be.
Future parking.
Yeah, and there, and then you just administrative would come back in and say, I need the 6. And
Oh. It's a thought.
you don't need it, and say good, I mean.
Saves money and creates more space.
But we do have to show that it is feasible to do it all.
And how it would be landscaped.
I mean, right
Yeah.
now, is this building being, it's a very big building, for warehousing, that's a certain count. And that's having quite a bit of component of office, it would be a change of use, so I think we need to have a determination.
Like, I was in office 15 warehouse, so as long as we would. Set that up.
I'm in a meeting now.
certain percentage, max percentage of the issue.
Yeah, I mean, if it, whatever it is.
Yeah, we have the office component, whether it's a third or a half quarter or whatever. To get our draw, spaces.
I probably don't need more than 2,000 square feet of office. So the office won't be bigger,
So we will walk off of that, and then the rest of
would be warehouse.
warehouse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
limited number, talking about 2, 3, 4 months.
Right.
So we just need to do a zoning.
Yeah.
Parking and put it on the
On the
plan.
plan, and then how much is it reserved? So if you, what track is this on? 8 feet. So that was the same, 14, if you want to. Move this along.
Yeah.
Plans on the 14th. And if it's enough, we can have a part of a work session on this, we can move it further faster if you want.
Okay, that'd be great.
So. Site plan is ultimately approved. And the use doesn't change our warehouse. We have another opportunity, will there be another opportunity to look at the architecture of the building? Other application, in other words, you know what I mean, if the site plan is approved, there's no change in use. When would it ever come back to this board? Because there's other things on the building that we're not talking about, that are not clearly in it, in the applications,
Not touching.
yeah. More of a procedural question.
You can look at it now, it's part of the whole site plan at this point.
Yeah, it's either now or not, I won't say never, but
We're addressing the whole front facade at this point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I thought you said, no, that's not,
No, it is.
no, it's he
So
found,
he was gonna put 8%.
Yeah.
Are we allowed?
it's part of this project.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mary, when are you gonna give us the colors of the existing stuff?
I can bring in the next meeting.
Yeah, that would all be, because this is just concept.
I mean, it's a brown brick, so it's probably gonna be a beige. Something to go with it, nothing elaborate.
I mean, we usually don't allow EVIS.
Right.
It's a drive, it's.
Everything.
it's an improvement, we've,
Doesn't touch the ground. The only thing good for it right now.
some type of panel.
Yeah, you could get the same program, the program
Yeah.
that you have, there's.
Well, like, what are you referring to, like a metal panel or something?
There's composite fibers that look like wood, that look
Yeah.
like all kinds of things that come different lights that could be. I think it'd be a nice little program on it.
Yeah, as a material in general,
No maintenance, no issues with
I
it.
was, drive it.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's preferable.
Was it only retail that's accepted or something? You see it in retail all the time.
What?
Yeah, I mean, pre-existing probably.
Oh,
It hasn't
okay.
been in 20 years that we.
Okay.
Accepted it.
So you prefer to see a type of wood panel or a metal panel?
Yeah.
Composite, not wood, but it could be a wood look, but it's composite material. And it doesn't even have to be wood look, it could be
Yeah, I
any
mean.
type of surface.
I think, you know,
Walking right into stuff out there.
Party, any of those, like.
Even have a,
Doug, are you?
you have a sheen on it, so you get a little reflectivity on it and.
About when we say, when we get something next week. Next week, there'll be some comments reflecting what we're talking about.
Okay. You send those to the engineer?
Yeah, so I guess we'll do a review of the design guidelines of the building. Is there anything else you guys want to say about the building? Specifically.
Is that an overhead door in the front?
On the side,
Yeah,
yeah, that's an existing overhead door.
you know, turning radius for trucks. to get
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, that's why I'm putting the parking on this side. So the truck could come in back up to here, and the dumpster can come in and drive right through. I tried putting parking on both sides, but it's too tight. I lack like 2 feet to clearance to make them work. So we put them all on one side.
So I believe the design professionals kept it agreement.
Yeah.
So they generally know.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we give them some comments, I think that'll be in the direction. All right. We're familiar.
I tell them that every time we come in, you know, we could meet with them on the 14th as well, if he's. You want to push this along.
Any lighting on the outside of the building?
It's that was submitted, the owner, previous owner, when they pulled a permit to put this pad in, they, submitted new lighting. So we submitted the cut sheets for the existing lighting. It's LED down lighting.
What is all?
Yeah,
It's already been-
it was already been approved by the board like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
No poles or anything in the
No.
park.
No, there's one street pole on the front, there's no lighting on the front.
Anything else?
It's a huge improvement.
Yeah, that's big time.
This is,
I have one question. So demo the existing building, does that all go together with this approval?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I can't do that ahead of time.
Well, I think, let's see where we are at the end of the next meeting. With the progress.
Well, I think the other thing is, right, this is. Site plan and a subdivision.
Right.
Right.
So that would all be approved together.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, I did not catch your name.
Jeff. Carpenter. Carpenter. C-A-R-P-E-N.
Thanks.
Charging stations with Saab.
Yep, that's me. I'm Tyler Thompson, I'm sales engineer for Apex Energy Tech, running the lead on this project. Let me just get the screen share going real quick. This should be quick and simple. It's a fairly straightforward and easy installation. Let's see, here we go.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's
Okay, can everybody see my screen yet?
Yeah.
No.
that's it.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump around between a few documents here because I feel like this skeletonized view is a little bit misleading in these, you know, 2-dimensional renderings of obviously 3-dimensional work, but we'll start here. This is the overall site plan. The power room that exists on site here, it's a 480 volt. I believe it's 800 amps is the total service capacity, but we're going to be tapping directly into a 300 amp distribution switchboard to go into a interior mounted and equipped 75 kVA step down transformer that will then run a small interior conduit run through the building out to a NEMA 3R outdoor rated 200 amp 12208 3-phase service panel that will then go out to powering these 8 EverCharge 11.5 kW level 2 chargers. Each of them, there's 8. There will be 2 per pedestal. Those pedestals will sit, it looks like they sit on the sidewalk. They don't. These ones actually sit like right directly onto the line here that splits these parking spaces, and then there's a 4-foot parking bollard that protects them. That's not shown here, but I'll show you some pictures of what that looks like. That will obviously be all the same kind of code as was referenced before, where we sink them 4 feet deep, and then we throw a yellow sleeve over the top of them. So I'm going to go over to what this looks like in real life, because I feel like this is a little bit more representative as soon as it will actually load. Oh man, I lost my graphics. Bear with me. Okay, so that power room that I'm talking about is right here on the other side of the wall from this main service disconnect. So the equipment actually sits in a hallway right here. And so that 75 kVA transformer will be on the other side of the wall, probably sitting about right here. And we'll pipe right out to that 200 amp 208 panel. And then we'll have one cut that goes across this piece of concrete strip here. And then we will do the rest of our trenching through the asphalt because it's much easier and it's less disruptive. So when you look at this right here, this trench path looks like it goes right through the concrete. That's just not what's actually going to happen. So I just want to make sure that that's well understood. And this striping, they are going to be redoing some of this striping. So as you see this huge block here, and this may have already been done. I'm not completely sure. I just know that it's not going to be this case. As you can see here, the parking spaces here are exactly where this is. So they're going to maintain this one because this is their access ramp right here. And then they're going to extend parking spaces through this zone here. That, however, is not part of my scope of work. That's just what they were talking about already doing.
On the end there of the curbing, because I can't tell where there'll be any traffic. This is a change.
So we have enough room here for 3 more parking spaces. So let's check the distance. You're asking if it's going to be around this curve, correct?
Well, I'm asking if you're planning where it's blocked off now with you're planning to put parking spaces there.
Not I, that's part of Saab's plan. They requested that we put we put these chargers in here. Again, that's not part of my work scope. That's something that if it's not already done yet, it's something that Saab is doing distinctly separately from our install.
You lost me. So I thought that showed it. Show us where the charging stations are going to be located outside.
So here, this striping right here. This is that ramp that's intact, and the charging station is not going to sit in the middle. It's actually going to sit right here, off-centered from this, so we can maintain this path here. And I'll actually adjust that in that drawing. I didn't realize it looked like that. So, but you know, again, using that picture as a point of reference. So we have these 2 spaces, and then there'd be 3 more right here.
We just pause right here for 1 second and address the fact that there is a stop line. So how are you going to put a parking stall at the end right there where a car is supposed to be stopping? That's 1. And 2 is we typically don't want a car or a parking stall at the end that's not protected. You know,
Okay.
the island would have to lay down.
It's just the charter.
So,
Right.
Yeah, we got it.
so you keep talking about that you're coordinating with something that they're currently doing. But
Yeah,
all-
this is at their request. I don't have,
I
it's not.
understand. What I'm saying is all of that work should be coordinated and submitted together. It all needs to come in.
Right. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying that if they're doing it as a part of a separate project, it's just not information I'm privy to. Because I'm not denying what you're saying.
Someone's going to have to come in and present that, or they're going
Okay.
to do the.
Well, ultimately, They have plenty of parking spaces available here. If you guys are going to say no to that, I don't care personally. I'm happy
Yeah, well, I was
to.
Why can't, yeah, no, why can't you just put them to the right of that striped walk aisle? You got 5 spots right there, you can take 4 of those, assuming one of them is probably accessible, so you got 4 remaining. Just the 4 to the left of the transformer that's there, the first 4.
I'm going to, I was gonna use this. Let me pop this out in a separate tab, and then I'm going to go to the most recent site data photos I have of theirs. And let's see if that's something that's already been done. I don't believe that it has, but let me just double check it real quick.
Yes, but what you keep talking about doesn't work, so we would have to say no, is what we're saying.
No, I understand. I'm just making sure that it's not something that's already been done and I'm just mistaken in what information I have. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So no to this. That's perfectly fine. I'm happy to tell them that and then adjust this back down to have the charters be over here.
Yeah. I think the rest works, if that moves down the 5.
So is it, are you saying each charger serves 2 spots?
2 parking space.
So we might.
So
have-
the way that's what I was gonna show you here, is that the way that we'll have these mounted. So when you look at them, here, each one of these icons represents a pedestal or like a pole that there's 2 ports, 2 chargers mounted to. And this isn't the world's greatest example of that, but you can see there is a charger on this side of the pedestal, and then there's another one over here. They're just mounted on both sides.
Well, I do appreciate.
Yeah, the reality.
It's gonna one in front of every
Right.
car space, so I
Yeah.
think it's the way. we
So,
should look at this.
I was just saying that I think that you might have to put a 1 or 2 onto the right side of the transformer, was it the transformer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's, that's not necessarily a problem. I think what we could easily do in that case is, because that panel will, I didn't mean to zoom in that far. That panel will be somewhere around here. I think due to the fact that this transformer's here, we're not gonna want to try to trench across here because we're guaranteed to have a primary line under here somewhere. So what we would have to do is run surface mount conduit from this panel across around this backup transformer and then come this way around, which
Yeah,
is perfectly
internally?
fine doing as well.
We're looking internally to run that conduit.
Either way is fine with me. I could run it internally or I could run it surface. Up to
Internal,
you.
internal is optimal.
Okay,
Yeah, cause
we
you
can do
don't
that.
wanna have something surface mounted going the opposite direction of the rest of the building's features that are
Sure.
going vertical.
Okay, yeah, that's no issue with me. I don't have to use rain tight for inside, so. So yeah, so then what we would end up doing is we would mount, let's see, they got 5 spaces here, so we'd have 1 dual set up here, 1 dual set up here, 1 dual set up probably right here on this side of the line instead. And then I'd have 1 dual set up right there.
Okay.
Is there a reason, like, instead of doing that conduit at the interior and coming out, is there a reason that you wouldn't just put all of them on the right side of the transformer?
Yeah, I suppose we could try that. I'd have to run that by the customer and make sure they're okay with that, but that's a good idea. That would be a little bit easier as well. Same exact plan.
Construction dollar wise, I think your client would be happy for that suggestion.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. I appreciate that. I hadn't really thought of that. Yeah, no, also what we would end up doing is inverting this setup. So
Just
instead of
flip
going,
it to the other side of the transformer, so then they don't have to trench or run it inside or,
Split the system.
yeah.
so instead of going to the, I guess this would be the west, we would reflect it on the y-axis and have everything going east.
I think if you do that and your client agrees that that's and the cut sheet, that's the exact model you're gonna use for the chargers?
Yes, and I did open that as well. They are the EverCharge EVO2s. They're 11.5 kW 11.5 kW level 2 chargers. This is what I have the installation manual, not a pretty sales pitch version, but but this is what they look like. They have UL listed load management software that fluctuates their loads up and down according to demand on the system, the electrical infrastructure, as well as what the EV, the battery is telling the charger. Very, very sophisticated, really awesome solution to limited power sources that still have a higher charging need. I'm trying to find you something that actually looks good. This is a good skeleton view of what it looks like right here. But again, this doesn't show you the pedestal. That's why I had the other picture open here.
Are they public use or are they exclusive for Saab?
So with these ones, these are going to have to be exclusively for Saab because Saab's a defense contractor and they weren't comfortable having them be public access, which is fine. As Lennon mentioned earlier in hers, they needed the full public level of infrastructure funding. And while it is better to have them public, it is you still get 50% of the funding if they're private fleet, you know, whatever usage.
So, yeah, if you write that up the way it is and get it to us, we'll move it along.
Okay, and as far as some of the other questions you guys asked her, I did want to also mention that they are fully internally wired. As you can see here, the chargers go through a small piece of flex conduit and utilize the body of the pedestal as a raceway, go straight into, that's all THWN, so it's wet conditions wiring that goes straight into a conduit that then goes over into a panel, just like this one would be. Everything's NEMA 3R outdoor, snow, rain, hail, whatever rated. And the only transformer involved is a small dry type privately owned transformer that's going to be interior. So
Sounds great. So if
okay,
you get plans to us, we can sooner the better.
Yep, I will have them over to my permitting coordinator by tomorrow. So he will send you over. Now, whenever you get those, do you require those to be in any specific format, like 24x36, a number of copies, that kind of thing?
2 copies in a flash drive would be great.
Okay, we will get those over to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the Anaran ETM project.
Old school here.
First.
Got it?
Well, right about this is exciting project. With TTM and
It's pretty smart.
Yeah, plenty here. Yeah. Kevin, would you get to the audience? Please, somebody. Yeah, this was. Go ahead, John.
So my name is John O'Brien. I'm here representing DeWitt Landing LLC, which is the owner of the property on Fly Road in Hammersmith. Conceptual review of a site plan for a high-tech manufacturing facility that will be an extension of Anaran Microwaves. Current facility, TTM, is the current owner of that property. They will make components for larger systems that will be manufactured here in Chicago.
Can you say what kind of systems you're referring to, just for?
We don't really know at this point. It's some sort of circuitry for a larger system, maybe defense related. So, so the site itself, you have a proposed subdivision map. We purchased the property that was former DeWitt Landing Art Mack had from, I think he developed back in the late 90s. His concept is markedly different from what we're proposing here. He had a bunch of small buildings. 3 were built along the south side of Hammersmith. 2 down here, and then 1 up in this corner, which is a municipal utilities building. So our proposed project, we also bought the 3 residential lots that were on the north end of Fly Road. Those were all zoned as high tech also. So we own all 3 of those lots. 2 of them are vacant at this point. 1 is occupied on a month-to-month basis. We would propose to, in the subdivision map, that was a loose survey map that I handed out, to merge those 3 residential lots into the larger lot. So the larger lot would be 22.77 acres in total. That would be on the east and west sides of the road. The project is kind of challenged from a yards standpoint because we kind of have front yards on every side of this building or this lot. What we chose is to set them all in the front yards. The building is set back from the right-of-way line on Fly Road, 60 feet. The 50-foot front yard setback. We set it back 60 feet. The building itself, the larger cube is 117,500 square feet footprint. There's an annex building that is 32,500. And then there's a second floor that is L-shaped, which is about 60,000 square feet. Now you'll see on some of the drawings, mostly the architectural footprint, there's some column spacing that we're working out that may change that square footage a little bit here and there. So working around the building, this is a 2-story facade facing Fly Road. We have proposed to have a generator and pad mounted transformers to service an electric room in this corner. Right now, this darker shaded gray area would be a fire access, which we'd have to work out with. I don't know if it's East Syracuse Fire District, but to have fire access from this side and this side to fight the 2-story. The building itself is about 40 feet high in this area.
Is it 2-story or is it
It's two floors here,
on the L shape?
yeah, 1 floor here. So we can get to the elevations and perspectives. Right now, the total building square footage is about 212,000 square feet, all the floors. We are showing 316 parking spaces to the south. And then proposing to reserve parking spaces for 106 to the north. Our actual needs for parking based on shifts and employee counts at full build out, really, we'd only require 214 parking spaces. We would like to put as little asphalt as possible down in this and reserve parking, probably in excess of what we show here, which is a 25% reserve. You know, that's something that we'd like to work out with the town.
That's right, the 25% we can do here, you'll need ZBA approval without recommendation or anything further than. Generally, we're amenable based on what you just referred to in terms of the difference. And the staffing.
Yeah, it would be primarily a 2-shift operation, and that's overlapping all the employees, so. Working our way back around the building, the annex portion, which is a 1-story cube, basically has 2 loading docks and a ground level dock, 2 compactors. It's generally used for shipping, receiving, and storage areas.
we would propose the primary parking to be at the south end of the building. Customer entrance would be here, employees would enter right here. And we would, if we were able to reserve more parking, it would likely be the southern way of parking. Stormwater, we're just kind of placeholding this. We haven't really sized for the stormwater needs. We would size for, likely size for the reserve parking also initially. So this side of the site is about 14 acres. This end of the site would be about 9, just under. Questions on the site?
Anything on the site?
So we have included in our package, short form seeker. We understand that given the scope and size of the project, it will be a long form EAF. We have done and completed a traffic study.
Yeah, there's some, I'm just kind of going, there are a couple of things that, yeah, that need to be adjusted. Yeah.
And so the other thing is, this has not received any of the department.
Okay.
So this,
When you look at it at all.
yeah, this is not
So, I
receiving
mean,
any review
But they're just
from the
clerical,
department.
so.
So this is a concept review, we're just here,
Yeah, just doing a little like,
Yeah,
you
so
know, in
this
terms of
came
the
in, this is government, and we talked to Charlie, this came in after the deadline.
yeah, no, and I.
As a courtesy, you said,
Yeah, no, this is perfect. We want to get a head start.
We understand there's a long form layout that we
are there any, you know, government agencies or anything that have action over this? No, it's all private.
well, there's governmental funding. There will be a size.
So that's a yes. Right, so the yes is there and you put that correctly, but you didn't list any of them. You gotta list the agencies and stuff that are in there.
We aren't really privy to that yet.
Yeah, well, we can, I mean.
Surprised by some defense department requirement that says that you can.
Right. There's acreage stuff, you know, fill in the acreage that's missing. You did do a traffic study, you said,
We did.
so, you know, you don't think it's gonna increase the traffic in that area?
It will, but not to unacceptable levels. So everything that the capacity is in the surrounding traffic network, there's enough gaps on road to accept the traffic. So, no, there's no offsite mitigation proposed by.
So this will be a type 1.
It'll be a type.
Make sure you're providing that to us as well.
Real quick, just to summarize, Jeff. The 3 residents, they're in the industrial district. They're just residents.
They're high-tech.
You're not, we're not including them.
No.
Right across the street.
Like that.
Side tech, right across the street. Yeah, this is directly across from our.
the other thing, Brian, in this area, this has traditionally been an area that we're really sensitive to stormwater.
Yeah.
So anything you could do to help you, to help us to do more remediation towards stormwater.
Yeah,
if you can, great.
high level, we've looked at this site for various tenants, like over the years, I know we've even had some workshops and stuff, some of the tenants were
Yes.
significantly larger. We've actually proof tested stormwater for up to, 300,000-400,000 square foot warehousing type distribution facilities. When we went through that exercise, we actually did, I think, from your office, get some of the old stormwater reports that were developed when the original DeWitt Landing subdivision was built, and there is drainage easement and stormwater facilities constructed at the rear of the property, however, they were built prior to some of the regulations that we have now for production quality. So there were assumptions made for impervious area, and that drainage easement can likely accommodate most of what we would need to treat, but our intent will be to treat more of that upstream before it gets to us. So I think what we could probably prove to you is that we can over manage the stormwater with the facility.
I presume that the drainage easement permits building over. Looks like the drainage easement is right through the proposed development.
Sure, so there is drainage that's conveyed from Fly Road, there's a culvert, that basically traversed through the middle of the site, and if you can imagine this having been developed as office lots, it would have just been like a center swell. Taking full advantage of the parcel size that we have, we will reroute that drainage to follow the easement along the north side of the site. It will not impact the ability to convey those flows, but
And I think we need to investigate who they need to runs to whether it's to the county. Some drainage district. in town.
yeah, so it will be a swap, right? We would be extinguishing the drainage easement that currently conveys that roadside swell, and we would be providing a new drainage easement by way of our subdivision map as part of this process, right? Again, this is conceptual, so all those details haven't been presented.
No, that's all right.
But I see we're wrapping it around, picking up from the front side, and I see that as an immediate opportunity to coordinate architecture and landscape design into that element, where your glass piece comes along, turns into a water feature. And the properly done tree sequences that come from the corner. I think it's a win-win for
We
everybody.
have certainly left space in the front yard. There are security requirements for the facility, so there'll be a decorative fencing around the perimeter. And my vision is from the street, you would see that fencing behind it would be landscape berms that kind of play into that drainage easement. And then as you work up to the building, you'd see that front facade of the building.
I know it's separate, you know, the Anaran, the old Anaran building, is there any carryovers from the Anaran, site work and design architectural, or is this just totally separate?
It's really completely separate.
Yeah, I would say so. They do have similar things where they do have perimeter fencing with the gates that you see out front, and as you drive in, there's, you know, landscape islands and stuff.
Oh, no, it's very, you know, campus-like.
Yeah, they also have a lot of ponds or water features. I think they dealt with wetlands in a different time when they were allowed to move things very easily, so they kind of use that to their advantage and set the building within sort of the wetlands that they had to deal with there, but the facilities are obviously related in terms of their operation, but I think architecturally and site plan, you really don't see the two next to each other, so they'll be designed independent, and obviously we'll meet the landscape regulations and reviews that you guys can put us through for that. Obviously respecting the front yard, you can see how we've sort of left that corner at the entry of Hammersmith and Fly Road open to having some landscape berms and plantings and stuff in that area when you drive in, so.
Is there any OSIDA monies involved?
There will be an incentive package which would include those items.
Usually they like to be lead agency. Let's see.
Yeah, we've been wrestling a bit with that, and I don't know if there's been a final determination of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any determination yet, Jamie.
Okay.
And I mean, if you guys wanna be lead agency, I don't think that's an issue at this point.
I mean, just if we notify them, right, if they're on the, well, this is very, there's nothing, nobody notified for your involved agencies because this just came, but if we notify them, they might be like, no, we wanna do it. You know how they are.
I don't know the history between the town and Osida.
Actually, we've shared lead.
And
Long time.
No, and we did, and it's not that, it's just like.
Which way are we going?
Which way we're going,
Yeah, I
that's
think,
all.
I think that's
We can work with
kind of
that.
on our list of figuring that out.
Yeah.
So this is moving fast.
your preference is here?
Usually.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because theirs is just money and this is the actual site stuff.
Right.
John, there was some discussion of connectivity between the two.
Just money, just money.
Is that still an option or not?
It probably is long term, right now. no.
What did you say, there was connectivity between the two entities?
Yeah, between TPM and.
Anaran?
Yeah.
Right. We had some discussion.
When we first talked about it, yeah, I thought that there was gonna be some connectivity.
It's, I think, I'd like to have in the future.
One of the other things that. There's a fence that runs around the entire building or around the entire site.
They mentioned that for security purposes, it's a requirement.
So what that is, it says decorative.
Yeah, it would be similar in character to what's at the end of the facility, so 6 foot tall aluminum fence. So
I guess in terms of the high-tech district, expectations, I mean, I think this is a really nice project. And I think with the landscaping, it'll be really nice, really beautiful campus. But I think that and I understand the fencing requirement, we gotta find a way though to soften the Fly Road side. To have a prominent fence along the entire elevation, basically along the setback, along the whole face. I think it's really disappointing. So I think we just gotta we gotta find a way to get that fence maybe off that main frontage. Maybe
Yeah, I mean, we did have some initial discussion about closing the corner of the building, not fencing Fly Road.
Yeah.
So I think that
We obviously haven't developed grading yet either, but you will notice that just looking at the earthwork, the site slopes from Fly Road to the rear property at the railroad. Our finished floor is likely going to be 3 or 4 feet lower than Fly Road. So there's some things that I think we can do in terms of providing the 6-foot fence for security, but having it low enough where you're not staring at it too.
All I can say is on the Kirkville,
Modulation.
you hardly notice the fencing on Kirkville, in front of Banner, and you see the gate. Because of the landscaping, it's. Mature trees. Yeah, so that'll be a big help at a good point. You wanna look at the architecture just?
Yeah. I don't know if you want to, floor plans are kind of basic.
No, I don't wanna do the floor plans.
so elevation wise, the building at its predominant height is about 40 feet, just under 40 feet tall. So we do have some called out materials. I think those are still in a state of flux. It's either precast, it's some sort of unit masonry, composite aluminum panels, some, galvanized metal type accents, but certainly the ribbon windows articulating and breaking up some of the mass of the building. You'll see that along this portion, you can see it better in some of the perspectives. This is recessed in the pop-up of the L-shaped 2-story portion. So this is the 2-story L-shaped portion. This is recessed down. The desire and the design will be that there really won't be any equipment on the roof.
That's the next question.
Yeah, so from user-driven serviceability, everything will be inside of this production area. So the only thing that may be seen is fresh air intake takes or exhaust. So really, it's a very clean look.
We'll need to see those two though.
Right, yeah, absolutely. We've shown some placeholders for signage that's still to be determined.
It's on 3 sides, right?
Well, well, from here. So,
It really comes down to, your visibility and approach is Fly Road and your entrance
correct.
avenues
Are
are there versus around the backside, so we'll look at that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, go back that one there, because that one picks up when you talked about where there is a customer entrance.
Yeah.
Okay. And
employees.
Yep, and I'm just getting into the forms and the shapes of what you're doing here, because I think there's a wonderful opportunity. I think, actually, great job for the startup getting to this thing. I'm seeing this nice big glazed panel at the front corner representing to us what we as the public perceive as what could be a great piece of high-tech architecture here. And I'm wondering what's happening behind that 2-story curtain wall, and how is that being expressed? How is that being lit so that it's working for us at night as it is the day, because it's nighttime most of the time here. And then essentially the customer entrance element I'm gonna look for some modulation of that facade. When that will bring out hoods, canopies, extension pieces, anything creates that layered shadow effect on a building of this size and scale. And then turn that into and make it space something fun on that customer entrance. So I'm driving in to go pick up my high-tech part. Or meet the guy who's gonna sell me my high-tech part. I know where I'm going, not just somewhere along that river.
I think the rendering's a couple further down, particularly.
A little bit, yeah, I think there's an opportunity here to be.
Oh, keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah. Still, as I come up, I'm missing my point of entry that I wanna slap you in the face and then say, hey, if I'm gonna do something with it, let's do something fun. But we got the one big bar coming up the left-hand side to differentiate it. Pull that into a whole form element that guides us in there, have some fun with it.
We're gonna do exactly that. Yeah.
Will there be outside like patios for employees and things, any of that?
To be determined. Maybe, but to be determined. So.
We have specifically separated sort of what would be the main lobby entrance. Which in some of the other high-tech projects we've worked on are kind of more decorative from the employee entrance, which is kind of centered to the building and directly accesses the production floor. So if anything, it would be in that notch that's sort of adjacent to the employee entrance, right?
Makes sense. I think that also helps to break down that sense of worker and.
And part of it's the parking lot too, right? That the parking lot places the employee entrance in the center of the parking lot so that there's kind of a common equidistant way to get from parking spaces and kind of keep some of the.
How quickly is this trying to move? Very quickly. You know, my thought would be because architecture for me is gonna be a big one on this one, the site, I think it's comes out itself is how quickly can we get to a working session? And can we do a modeling working session? I'm really trying to push those of us who are technology driven here. Not looking at it, here's an image and then we argue over an image. We come in, we set up, we spin model, we rock lines and we make it happen and actually have some fun and everybody gets it done quicker.
Yeah, absolutely going for that.
So
And this doesn't have to be at any specific meeting, this
Now,
could be.
we could set this thing up.
Yeah.
We could do this
Sideline with,
Zoom it up and come in.
all, any of the board that want to
But-
participate.
Be sure to complete your application properly first, so that it can get the right review from the consultants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
yes,
so.
they've got to.
I do have a something.
Right, so Danae's point, yes, we put some placeholders in just to make sure that we could have a very high level discussion and get some of these comments. From the site side, we have a lot of data driven site statistics that need to be populated on the long EAF, right? We've done a lot of the research in terms of some of the studies and things that John mentioned that are needed, but the actual site statistics like building coverage and how the landscaping plays into stuff. We probably only need a few weeks to get to like a 50% DD set that will capture sort of preliminary landscaping for you to look at and make sure the short or the long EAF is complete. And I think we'll be receiving the actual subdivision map to fill out that application so we can give it to you as one package. So potentially within the next few weeks, we can have that formally submitted and start some of the working sessions that they were talking.
No, this kicks off the concept.
That's what Charlie and I
Oh,
were talking about, so Charlie and John and I will get on the phone tomorrow. Then I'll relate to the rest of the.
Yeah. Because it's, there won't be a second, there'll be
We're trying not to have people come to every meeting, like it's been a problem as far as staff reviewing, like the deadline would be tomorrow for the next meeting.
Okay.
so, but the concept is started so that we can do work sessions anytime.
Right, so I guess our desire would be to have Leif is willing to have a special session for the architecture and then
Absolutely.
can we make the workshop on the 12th?
That would be, I don't know, do we have anything else set up?
No, well, you saw a couple of minor things.
So
Right.
if there's no other,
I'm not sure what we're gonna
if
look
there's nothing
at.
set up for the 12th right now, I don't have a problem with setting up.
That's my, that was my question to Charlie too.
But the work session doesn't mean that you're on the agenda for the
No.
14th.
No,
No.
Right.
No, I think we're gonna need a couple work
Yeah, yeah.
sessions.
but what else, but what would you have ready for that work session? Cause that's
More site plans.
more stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's keep the
grading,
momentum
finished
going.
floor.
You got some architecture. to play with.
Yeah, we'll go right.
But I wanna,
Right.
the more we can bring the architecture and the siting
I
together
agree.
conceptually, because we're talking about a real design project here, not just something we're throwing on a site. The more we can engage it together, the quicker and better it's gonna be all around for everyone.
So, and don't wait for just one submittal. If you have some of the architecture done, get it through to Doug, Doug will get it through the whole board. And they can participate to the level that they feel comfortable.
You're ready to come in on the 12th.
The 12th.
Have design materials and things that we can talk about that are tangible, then let's do that to keep things rolling.
Because there won't be a meeting unless we have to have one, after during the holidays.
if we're gonna do one, this is the fun one, so.
Right, yeah, and then we can still continue on.
For this project.
Besides my state, don't have
They're like
charges.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is that what we wanna do then, the 12th?
Yes,
I mean, if you guys are ready for it, I mean, Dr. Doug, if you guys are ready for it. the 12th.
So how can you have a new building without charging?
Especially at the high tech.
400 high employees, actually.
We will add that.
The sooner the better.
Just be sure to dig up the concrete after you laid it 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We don't want
No,
to.
Amazon did it
But
right.
Amazon had their plan, they just did.
Yeah, okay, motion to adjourn. Okay, Kevin and then Kathy, all in favor? Okay, could you turn off the share?
I think I did.
You can just end it.
End it.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go into an executive session.